and welcome back to the ever-impressive, the most to die for, and the most entertaining hockey channel in all of YouTube, and that is, of course, the O Hockey Show, with your host, me. So, today we're talking about the Chicago Blackhawks and who their best player is. I've gone over the Ducks, the Coyotes, the Bruins, the Buffalo, and the Carolina. And now we move on to the Blackhawks. Let's do this. So, of course, I got to start off with the guys that they come up with. The names that come to your mind first. And, of course, that is Juha Kyrä. Now, Kara, or however you say his name, so many countries pronounce it differently that I just can't narrow on one. I go with I like to go with the Bulgarian way you pronounce his name. In that way you pronounce it is a... So, I try to go with that one, but most people don't like it to hear. So, I'll just go with Juha Kyrä. So, of course, 3 goals with 0 assists for 3 points last season. Not incredible for his standards. In past seasons, he's been a better player. Of course, being a 6'4", huge physical presence on the ice. This guy, you would want more out of him. Of course, 3 goals, 0 assists for 3 points in 27 games. Not what you want. This guy is a superstar. This guy's been known to be... He is the Arnold Schwarzenegger of hockey, really. If you want a guy that goes in there every night, and he goes in, and he goes head first in everything, and just gets the job done, Juha Kyrä last year was not it. Not it. I mean, of course, a lot of teams want this guy on his team. He's been on the Oilers and the Blackhawks, or somebody else as well, probably. So, Kyrä is the guy that you just want on your team. Teams love him, guys love him, girls want him. This is the guy that you want in his team. Now, of course, he had a down year last year with only 3 points, but I think he's going to bounce back, and he has a good claim to be, for the Green Star, of greatness. Now, of course, we can't talk about Kyrä without talking about Tyler Johnson. Not Jack Johnson, but he's also on the team, but the other Johnson. Johnson & Johnson. Anyways, so Tyler Johnson, of course, he's that one guy, when I think of, like, when you do a team activity, whether you're on a hockey team or you're in like a school activity team thing, setup, deal, whatever, this is the type of guy that does a lot of the fine detail work. He's the one that notices the little things. He's not the leader by any means. No one thinks of him as the leader, and he doesn't want to be the leader. But if he wanted to, he could be. He is that guy who gets the job done but doesn't want the glory for it. Tyler, 3 goals, 4 assists, 7 points. I mean, obviously, once again, numbers down. I'd like to see him more in the 10 range. But for Johnson changing teams, and now he's also going to have another Johnson on the team, which is going to be a big rivalry there for who's the better Johnson, or who has the better Johnson. You're going to want that rivalry right there is just going to... That competition makes people's games rise. So that's a good thing for Tyler Johnson. I'd like to see him go up in those numbers this year, and I think he's going to do really good for the Blackhawks and bring him back to glory. Maybe even Stanley Cup. I think if they do, Conn Smythe obviously goes to him, or potentially the second best goaltender ever in Alex Stalock. Now, right before Antiniemi, of course, his former teammate. So, Alex Stalock he only played 1 game last year, but that was because of politics with the Wild or whoever he was playing for. I kind of forget. I heard there was a lot of rumbles about what it was really about, but basically they went to a 99-cent store, and he wanted the Dreamsicle, like the push pop thing. But the manager who was with him, they took him to lunch because, of course, they did. They were carrying flowers at the time, and when he said it, one of the petals flew off, went into the guy's face, into his mouth, choked him up, and basically there was an altercation there. The roses were beaten with each other. Of course, thorns injured people from those roses, and there was a huge thing. Basically, no one got there. The flowers beat up, the guys were beat up, and no one got the push pop. And in fact, it melted on the ground. So a lot of problems there with Stalock and his old team. But the 1 game he played, he really impressed me. 0-1 record. So obviously he's up there with the greats. Now I wanted to see this number more guys to have. 7.83 GAA. Of course, maybe not the best number you've ever seen, But on face value, it's kind of misleading. 7.833, you would think that's like 7 goals or so. But really what it means is that that's what his Dow went up in points that last year. So you really want to see that number pop up for more for guys like that. And also a .786. Now that is kind of disappointing. I will say that is a disappointing number. I kind of want to see up there in like a .803 territory. But for one game and being screwed over, and of course that relationship he had with the owner is kind of gone. So you kind of have to take that for granted and just kind of shove it to the side. You can't think about that too hard right now. So unfortunate for that one game right there for Alex Stalock, and hopefully with his new team he's going to get to have that presence. Of course he's going to be up there with Belfour, with Grant Fuhr for the best goaltenders of all time, especially Blackhawks at least related. So a lot of guys, I got to talk about the guys. I wanted to put a defenseman on here, but, I don't really think Jake McCabe really deserves to be mentioned on here, especially when you got Alex Stalock back there basically doing all the defense work. So I didn't really want to put anyone else off here, and there's a lot of guys on a team. There's 18 guys, and I could have put some others, but I just couldn't convince myself that anybody could outplay any of these threes. So if I was myself to go ahead and name a player and give someone the Green Star of Greatness, I have to, without a doubt, I need to award the Green Star of Greatness. If I can put this on the cap, there we go. I'm going to award the Green Star of Greatness to Patrick Kane, of course. Who am I kidding? Those guys are losers, and Patrick Kane is the best American player of all time. Matthews might pass him one day, but Patrick Kane is the best. Now, of course, that was all a joke. Patrick Kane, 26 goals, 66 assists, 92 points. Of course, he is still the best player of the Blackhawks. There is no choice. When making this team, through the team so far, I've always been for the Bruins especially, I was I don't know, there could be an argument for each guy. Unlike the Ducks, it's well, sir, Terry got more points, but Zegras is the better one. On the Coyotes, it's kind of Keller is obviously the best one, but I could see, it's kind of in contention, you never know. The Bruins, it's oh boy, who knows? There's a lot of guys you can name. Blackhawks, there's no even close pick. Patrick Kane is, of course, the best. 92 points. He's still as good as ever. He's still getting, each year he doesn't get worse. Of course, his best seasons are up there, but he's still just kicking right along. And it would be kind of interesting to see what he could do with such a terrible team like the Blackhawks going into this year, because he's going to have so much no talent to play along with. Do I see him staying on the team? I don't know. I feel like whenever you see the rumors about guys leaving, it's either 100% true or it never happens, which is, of course, always that. Duh, you're really taking no side of the fence. But for Patrick Kane, I either see it happening real soon or not at all. And I honestly have no idea. I have no idea, because obviously the Blackhawks want to pick up Bedard, but I don't know. I really don't know. The Blackhawks are doing absolutely ridiculous things I've never even thought of teams doing before. So I don't see him finishing the season with the Blackhawks. I'll say that. I don't know when they'll get rid of him, but I don't see him finishing the season with them. Now, down below, we've got Jonathan Toews, of course. Obviously, no one's going to say he's the best player anymore. Seth Jones, just not the best. No one's going to say he's the best, and he just isn't. Patrick Kane, bar none, absolutely no competition. Patrick Kane's the best. Everyone knows the story. He's if there was a guy I would see always online, if you were to choose the best parts of a player, Crosby's skating, McDavid's skill, then Patrick Kane, you got to pick his hands. So I don't know what else to say. Patrick Kane's the best. That's really all I have to say about it. So, if you disagree with me, tell me all about it down below. I know you're gonna. Actually, no, you're not. There's no other person on here. I get the case for Kyra, but I just gotta give it to Kane. Between the two K guys, I'd give it with the Kane. Now, between the Johnsons, that's an interesting debate. Who's the better Johnson? Tell me that down below, and please pick up your free subscription by hitting that red subscribe button. If you like this video, leave a like, not a dislike, but go down below and tell me all about that in the comments section. And until next time, I have been your dapperly dressed host, And it's Owen, me. That's me. I'm your host. And until next time, too sweet. I hope you have an amazing day. And ta-ta for now.